Yo guys, what's up? It's Speo with the Voice of Reason. So today we'll be building a Reese Bass using a couple of cool tricks, and when it's finished it should sound something like this. So let's get into building it. First up, you want to create a master, and on this master we'll select the FM1 wavetable for oscillator A, and on this wavetable we'll bring down the motion to -60. So we still have some movement in this wavetable. Then we can bring down the octave to octave 3, and we'll set the shift at about -35. Now we'll route this oscillator into the shaper, and we'll turn it on and set it to clip mode, and we can bring up the amount to about 100. Next up, we can bring the frequency all the way up on filter A, so none of the frequencies get cut. Cool. Then we'll turn on oscillator B, and we'll select the sawtooth times 16 wavetable for that one, and we'll bring the octave down to octave 2. And there we have our nice Reese Bass going. Then we can move on to create an equalizer, and on this equalizer we'll turn on parameter 1, and we'll bring down the gain all the way to -18.3 decibel, and then we'll bring the Q down as well to about 3.5. Then we can alt-click the frequency rotary to create an automation line in the sequencer. And what we can do now is we can search for a 3 spot in the sequencer and just draw in a note that's a bar long for our maelstrom. And I'll set it to A2 because that's just where I like to have my notes sit. And now you can see we have our automation line for the equalizer going right here. Now we can just draw in a random automation line, really. Just something to make it sound cool, to get some movement into this pretty boring note. Upsala. So, I'm just gonna go from the top down, then up again, to the middle, stay in the middle a bit, up again, down again, and up again, and there we are. Sweet. So next up we're gonna create a scream for distortion unit, and we're gonna set it to tape mode, and we'll bring the speed all the way up, and we can reduce the damage just a bit to about 44. Then we can turn on the cut and just give it a tiny bit of highs, so with a value of about 20. Sweet. So next up there comes a little trick. And this trick was recently shown to me by my good mate Sora, who's an awesome Austrian producer as well, and you should definitely check him out. I'll chuck a link into the description. And Sora actually sent me a sample, which he told me to layer on top of a Reese Bass, and it sounds pretty cool. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna go to File, and you're gonna import an audio file. And the file that Sora sent me was actually pretty gross. Just take a listen. So you can hear it's like a beans getting chewed, and it's a nice kind of sound for the high end for a Reese Bass. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna just layer it on top of our note right here. So we're gonna cut off what we don't need, just adjust the level a bit, and in the mixer I'll just high pass it and boost some more highs on it. Right, and that's gonna be the high end for our bass. And together they sound pretty neat. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do something called resampling. So I'm gonna go to File and hit Export Loop as audio file. I'm just gonna export it to the desktop, replace the old one, and have the bit depth at 24 so we don't lose any quality. So now that our sample is created, we can mute those clips because we don't need them anymore. And I can reset the thing. And what we're gonna do next is we're gonna create an NN19 digital sampler. And I can also tell you why we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that because Cohen Sound gave an interview on the Propellerhead website where they said they actually use the NN19 sampler a lot for resampling because of the notch bass on it. So that's exactly what we're gonna do as well, because Cohen Sound are awesome as hell. And we're gonna go to browse sample and load up the sample that we just created. Don't forget to set the root node where to the node that you just played though, otherwise all the nodes will be screwed up. So I'm gonna set it to A2 because that's the node that I was playing earlier. So now we're gonna switch the filter mode to notch mode, just as Cohen Sound does it. And then we'll alt-click the frequency to create an automation line. Now we're just gonna copy the node over into the NN19 lane. And we're gonna once again automate the notch filter in just a cool fashion to get even more movement into this sound that is now comprised out of the actual bass and this high-end sample that Sora sent me. So let's just draw in a quick line right here. I'm not gonna pay much attention to what I'm drawing because you can do that then when you just kind of experiment for your bass. You can like have great techniques for drawing in these lines. I'm just gonna go totally no-brain random right here. Sweet. And now you can see on my example I actually had an audio file for the bass, so it's cut up nicely. And that's exactly what we're gonna do next is we're gonna go into the rec view, and on the NN19 mix channel we're gonna select rec source right down here. What that allows us to do is now if we create an audio channel or an audio track, we can actually select the mixer channel for the NN19 as a rec source, as a record source. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna hit stereo input on the audio input right here, and we'll select the NN19. Now all that we have to do is hit record, and it'll automatically record this lane down into this audio track right here. Sweet. Now we have our audio file for the bass. And we can move this other stuff somewhere we don't, where it doesn't interfere with our section that we're working on, and we can mute it as well. So now that we have our audio file right here, this track up here is muted, by the way. We can actually delete those. Now that we have our audio file, we can get to chopping basically. I have a little beat prepared down here, as you heard earlier. So we'll just take a listen and see what we can do with our bass file. Right. So I'm just now gonna sweep through this file and see if I can find any cool sections that I wanna cut out of it. So down here we have like a cool sound. Can actually have that longer. Sweet. And then I'm just gonna cut something out here. Up-a-la-boomba. By the way, that cutting is a lot faster if you use the R button to switch to the slicing tool and the Q button to switch back to the basic mouse kind of tool. So let me just cut off some more stuff. I'm not gonna pay much attention to that either. A cool trick is also to reverse some of them. Just reversing them can have a pretty cool effect. Yeah, and those two, just give them away. All right, and now we're just gonna place them in our beat and see what sounds cool. So just you can also use the transpose to pitch them up an octave or down one just by typing in 12. And what I forgot earlier actually, which is kind of a bummer, is that you can of course also automate the pitch wheel on the initial maelstrom to get some cool sounds. You should definitely do that because there are some really cool sounds to create like that. Automate the pitch wheel as well as the frequency on the equalizer and just get some cool pitch automation going. I forgot that, yeah, sorry. Okay, now that we've got some sweet slices going in here, some reversed and some transposed, like I transposed that one up 7 semitones, which is always a good number. We can still apply some effects just for the mixing aspects of this Reese Bass. So, for example, what you want to do is get some more stereo width by creating a unison and bringing down the dry wet to about 30. Yeah, and you can also create another scream for distortion. If you feel like your sound is not compressed enough yet or distorted enough, you just set it to tape mode, bring up the compression a bit, bring up the damage a bit, and you can also activate the cut and boost some more highs, get rid of some mids. And yeah, you should definitely use a sub bass for this bass, but I'm too lazy, so I'm just gonna boost some lows as well, so it'll sound fat. Ah, sorry for hurting your ears there. You can also turn on the body, and a good mode to set it to is type D, and then you just bring up the auto, and it'll sound pretty cool as well. Let's take a listen to the whole thing. Oh yeah, I forgot, type E sounds even better, at least for me. Of course, it doesn't sound too impressive because I just cut random stuff. But if you just cut out cool sections and layer them with other basses and have other basses in the sequence for your drop right here, it'll sound pretty cool. And especially when layering this sample like the baked beans, another cool sample to layer on these basses is water. So there are some cool water samples on websites like freesound.org, and water samples on Reese Basses sound pretty cool as well. But if you listen for this sample right here, you'll actually, you can hear it out of the bass, and it sounds pretty interesting, and it's definitely a cool element to have in your glitch up drop. Alright, that's it for this Reese Bass tutorial. I hope it was useful, and you go on to making some sick shit with these techniques. I'm not the best guy when it comes to Reese Basses, you can probably tell, but I try and I have a lot of fun, so yeah, I suggest you do the same. Until next time, have a good one of whatever you're having.